that should be a part of your strategy or of you showing up. So, you know, if you're having, and those conversations can be so low key and just not polished, that I think it really, it's a great way, if you're not comfortable sharing or showing up on video yet, it's a great way to prime yourself to do that eventually.
Hey everyone, welcome to the S.O.B Marketing Podcast, where we celebrate the S.O.B that you are, and if you haven't figured it out yet, we mean small-owned business. We don't mean S.O.B.
Listen, we know that as a small business owner, you are working hard on the daily to keep your business fully operational while trying to promote it. And while some days it may feel like the business is owning you, if we're being honest with each other, I bet you would admit that you wouldn't give up the insanity for anything.
Our commitment here at the S.O.B Marketing Podcast is to give you the real talk, what works when it comes to advertising, marketing, promoting your business, and then what doesn't really work.
And Chelsea and I promise to always keep the conversation real.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the S.O.B Marketing Podcast. S.O.B as in small-owned business, not S.O.B. We're not calling you names, I promise. If you're new here, I'm Chelsea, and joining me is my wonderful big sister, Vivian. We are a marketing duo. We both have marketing experience, even though we're 15 years apart. So we decided to create this podcast and share all of the marketing knowledge we have with you guys so you can feel confident in taking on your own marketing. Just really quick, I want to say thank you for listening. If you have any topics you want us to talk about, please send us a DM. You can email us at help@theseasonedmarketer.com or just send us a DM. Again, we look at all that stuff, so let us know if there's something you want us to discuss. Vivian, what are we talking about today?
All right, this is a very great topic because, Chelsea, we know that everybody out there has really great intentions whenever they are starting to show up on social media. So let's say that you have a small business and you're like, you know, what's a really great idea? Let me be on Facebook, or let me be on Instagram, or even let me be on the soon to be possibly banned TikTok, right? Yeah. So, everyone goes into it with really great intentions, but we know that sometimes operating and running a business can get in the way, and life, you know, because you guys have lives outside of just your business. And so maybe you have found that you have these social media accounts, but you're not showing up. And so today's discussion is going to be centered around some tips that we have for you in order to resuscitate or revive these accounts.
Absolutely. If you have an account that you created and you posted maybe 3 times and then you stopped and you didn't touch it for a long time and now you want to try again, this is the perfect episode for you. That's what we're talking about today. The most important step that you can take when it comes to revitalizing, reviving, or just creating a social media account, and something I think that a lot of people don't do, is thinking about what the purpose is of the account. Like, it's not just social media. If you want to be really good about your social media marketing, you're going to have to sit down and actually create some goals and a clear vision and purpose of what you're using that account for.
And there are 2 reasons that I think what you just said really does apply in 2024. Reason number 1, you guys, there is a plethora of options out there as far as social media accounts. And so back in the day, it probably was just like Facebook, Instagram. You know, we had a few heavy hitters. But now as these apps kind of come on board and as people are transitioning onto other apps, we now have stuff like Threads, we have YouTube Shorts, we have Pinterest. And so you need to be very cognizant about deciding what community you want to be a part of. Gone are the days that you can do and dabble all of it, because you're not going to be able to invest the amount of time you need to get traction in these apps if you're doing all of them. So like Chelsea said, be very specific and strategic about which ones you choose to go on to, and also have a purpose behind them. And reason number 2, that what you said applies more so now than ever before, is y'all, consumers are bombarded with stuff. Okay. So on top of having this social media stuff that they're going on and, looking at all this information, they see ads on there. You would not do this with any other marketing initiative. I would not decide to invest $7,500 on a billboard if I did not know specifically what my purpose was for spending that $7,500, right?
Yeah.
So if you would not do it for radio ads, postcards, billboard for the traditional stuff, you can't treat social media any different. Yes, it's free besides the investment of your time. Right?
Exactly.
Air quotes.
Yep.
Chelsea did the air quotes for everyone listening. It's not quote unquote free because you're still having to put a lot of time and effort into it. So quit thinking that and change your perspective and treat it just like you would any other marketing initiative.
Absolutely. So think about, are you trying to grow brand awareness? Are you trying to build a community, promote your Instagram shop? Like, be specific about what you're trying to do. I can give an example. Between TikTok and Instagram, for us, because I am the one in charge of social media, our Instagram is more focused on curating and building a community of small business owners. Our TikTok is more informational because most people use TikTok kind of like a search engine, right? So they're looking up how-tos and how do I do this and stuff like that. So our TikTok is very specifically more informational. This is how you do this. Here's some snippets of information, tips, stuff like that. Our Instagram is more, we want you guys to take care of your mental health as small business owners. We want to build a community. We want you guys to interact with each other. It's very specific for that platform.
Right. So you're doing two different things on two different platforms, same type of information. And sometimes that information does cross over, but you're presenting it in two very different styles.
Exactly. So talking about practical tips, a little bit easier to do than an overall concept. You're going to want to optimize your bio and your profile. One, you want to make sure it's actually up to date. Maybe since the last time you've touched it, things have changed. Make sure that you update that. Make sure that all your links have a purpose. Maybe you are using like a link tree. We personally use links.co. But if you're not ready to purchase something like that, you can also create a links map in Canva.
Right.
Yeah,
like a profile, a bio and profile type of page.
Yes, absolutely. When people say, oh, the link is in our profile, and you click on it and they have like a map basically of all their links, that's a link map. You can create one in Canva if you don't want to purchase one.
So basically what you're saying is just kind of refresh that profile and be sure that if you're deciding to revive it and to be engaged now, since you've taken a little hiatus, to be sure that all the information is relevant and perhaps you have pivoted a little bit in your business. And so that's where that bio profile kind of comes in if you're updating it to just kind of better match what you're doing now. I think the other part of it, Chelsea, is when it comes to utilizing the features that are embedded in these social media platforms, be sure that all of that is updated too. So whether that be the stories, right, that are in the Instagram stories, you can use those. What do you call it? The cover. What are those little things called?
It's like story cover. So they're story like groups.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're essentially up at the very top, right underneath where your profile goes. It's those little categories that show up in the little covers that you can create. So be sure that those categories are still relevant and are a good representation of what you're doing. And then also, I think that kind of helps to give you a little bit of a guideline of how you're going to utilize the platform. So if on Instagram you decide to create your story categories on, let's say that you share recipe information, right? So maybe you want to have something for easy to make meals under $25. And then maybe another one is, I don't know, healthy meals or whatever it is. Decide how you're wanting to split up that information and categorize it.
And while we're discussing, actually utilizing the features in Instagram, right now, specifically Instagram, you definitely want to pin posts. So in Instagram, you can pin 3 posts, which means basically they are the first 3 posts that people will see when they go to your profile. Be very specific about what you want those posts to be. A lot of people, I know for us specifically, we have a start here post, which is all about who we are, what we offer, all of that good stuff. So maybe you want to do like a start here, or if you are a service-based company, maybe you want to do like a price list, like, okay, acrylic nails are $45 or something like that. Just be very specific about what you pin to the front.
Yeah, I think also it's good to note here while we're talking about the features that are within each one of these apps that y'all, these apps, if you don't know, they change on the daily. All right. They're changing on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. So if you've taken a hiatus, it would probably behoove you to just go in and maybe brush up on what features they have, and just be sure that you're current in knowing the full capabilities that each one of these apps have. So if you're looking for a resource, I like going to socialmediatoday.com in particular for the social media part, because they do keep you updated on new features that are getting rolled out in, LinkedIn, Pinterest, whatever, app you're working within. Yeah. And so just be sure you do your due diligence on that part.
Yeah. And also definitely want to introduce or reintroduce yourself every so often as your following grows. People may or may not know what you're about. So I would make it, I don't know, maybe like a quarterly thing. Make sure that you're reintroducing who you are. Also, I am so sorry if you don't want to hear this, but you're going to have to create video content. It's not an option. Video is here to stay. Now, whether you talk in your video content, like you can get creative with it. You can use B-roll. We do not suggest using stock images because people don't use that anymore. It doesn't get interacted with. So B-roll, that's a great idea. If you can talk in your videos, that would be the best. You're just going to have to do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, video definitely is now just part of the game. Like you got to do it, right? So if you need to start small, and like Chelsea said, you're nervous about showing up on camera, that B-roll option is very good. And then you could record a voiceover within the app, right? So just using that microphone on your phone. So that really helps with kind of building up to being able to record something. But I will say also, I think it's really important to, as we're sharing these tips with you guys, that you also stop and think about the reason that you took a hiatus. Okay, what was it that, why is your account now quote unquote dead? Like what was causing enough friction to have you not show up? Like what was that what do you call it? That wall that wasn't allowing you to just kind of show up. Yeah. And so I think the reason you want to do that is because if you don't address that big issue, then all of these tips are great. But what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up doing what Chelsea just told you. You're going to go on, you're going to update your profile, you're going to do the research, make sure you're up to date with the app. And then maybe you're going to post one video and you're going to be MIA again. So be sure that you're kind of thinking about, okay, what was it that prevented me? Is it because I didn't make time for it? Is it that simple? Or is it because when I log in, I scroll through the app, but I don't engage? I know a lot of you out there are probably guilty of that. So if that's where you're starting from, then one of the things that I would do too is maybe ease into it and do the very basic and start to engage, right? So the reason, quote unquote, we call it social social media is because it is a place for you to interact and engage with other people. So if you find, hey, I actually like being on the platform, but I don't comment on people's stuff. I don't maybe take a baby step and start there and say, okay, when I show up and I scroll, I'm going to make a commitment to at least comment on three things, right? Or at least reply back to a comment that I get or whatever else.
Yes, I love that you said we call it social media because it's social, because that's a big part of it. Like, yes, we are saying it's a marketing initiative, but it's a little different. It's not something that you just, okay, here's my post, I'm done, and I want people to engage with me. Like, people are not going to engage with you if you don't engage back. Like, it's a two-way sort of thing, kind of like how we've discussed conversational marketing. People don't want to be talked at, they want to be talked with. And that's why social media is such a big thing now, too.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I was about to say that same exact thing. People, if you, because possibly you're in this boat, possibly the reason that you're not showing up and you have a dead social media account is because you were posting and you were posting what you thought was great content, except no one was interacting with it, and you just kind of got down in the dumps about it and were feeling sorry for yourself. And so you were like, I'm not going to show up anymore because no one's reading what I'm putting out there. So if that's you, possibly go back, and maybe this is a good time to do it before you revive this account. Go back and look at where you were getting the engagement, on what post, on what carousels, was it videos? I think because then it may spark some interest or an idea for you to say, oh, okay, well, maybe I just wasn't sharing stuff that was catching people's attention, or maybe it wasn't exciting news. And not that everything needs to be exciting, because I do think that part of building a community is getting people interested enough to stick around for the boring stuff, right? But it's a community, so it doesn't always have to be like super exciting. So start there. If you're saying, hey, I wasn't getting a lot of traction on it, so like, why am I wasting my time? But now all of a sudden you're like, hey, I want to get back to it. Well, then you need to do a little digging to figure out why the stuff wasn't working beforehand.
Yeah. I do also want to say, if you're looking back at the reasons why this social media account died, and part of it is because you couldn't be consistent, or you just got too overwhelmed with having to consistently post things, y'all, you do not have to post every single day. You don't have to do it, okay? What you have to do is be consistent with when you're posting. If you're going to post only 2 times a week, that's great, but you got to post those 2 times a week. Make it easy on yourself and schedule out posts. You don't have to. I feel like, okay, Vivian, I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant right now, because
I'm here for it. You've got me captured. I'm captive, so.
Good. One, what I'm talking about right now, you have to be consistent, but you don't have to post daily. When, you know me, I'm doing research, I'm looking at stuff. I had come across this article, and in the article, the author had written, here, I have a direct quote, because here it is.
It really sent you on a...
It did. The quote was, perfectionism is the enemy because Instagram's algorithm prefers quantity over quality. Do not be posting things that are not good quality. And I understand the point that this author was trying to make, which is, you are your worst critic. There are times where I create a video and...
You got another thumbs up from the Riverside crew.
I know.
For those of you that are listening,
I don't know what that's about.
Chelsea and I can't figure out why this happens, but we use a software tool called Riverside. It's an online platform that allows us to record this podcast. And for whatever reason, it only happens on Chelsea's side. It's never happened to me, but
Yeah.
she will say or make certain gestures that apparently triggers a big thumbs up to appear on the screen. And it's the funniest thing because we don't know when it happens. So it's very, very surprising.
It's just random. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I move my hands too much. It's because I'm heated right now. So, going back, as I was saying, you are your worst critic. There are times where I create a video, I send it to Vivian. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this video. And Vivian's like, no, this is great. It's just me looking at me, you know? Like, you are your worst critic. That's what the author means.
Well,
you don't have to create...
Maybe, because I'm going to say this, y'all. There's a lot of bad marketing advice out there because I want to just make this point. If you ever think that Chelsea and I, we're not saying that we have all the answers and the information that we put out there, we know that as small business owners, listen, if you guys are smart enough to launch your own business, you're smart enough to assess the situation and information that you get and apply it to how it best fits in your life and in your business. So our thing is this, if we ever come across that we're like laid back marketers, it's because we believe that there's a balance. Okay, you're not going to be a slave to some algorithm that you cannot control. And that is not a smart way to just like build your entire business on a platform that one day is not going to be here. It's going to be obsolete one day. Okay, right now, we're just all doing it because there's a large group of people that we can tap into and share our businesses, with. But when that group of people migrates over to a much better app than Instagram, we're all going to pivot and go there too. So it's just to us, I think what, Chelsea, you were giving that person the benefit of the doubt. And I'm saying, no, she probably meant exactly what she typed. Because the thing is, she is correct in saying the more you post I think Gary Vaynerchuk recently, it was floating all over YouTube Shorts and all this stuff. He was at a conference, maybe this was like last year or something, and he said something to the effect of, you guys should be posting 5 times on TikTok, okay, or whatever. Who's got the time of day to do that? If you are running a business and you are managing people, or maybe you don't even have staff members that you're managing, but you are doing the day-to-day delivery of products and services within your business, you may be a solopreneur. You have no one else that's helping you with it. Do you have time, or is it worth the amount of time it takes you to stop, pick up your phone, open TikTok? We all know you're going to scroll a little and you're going to be distracted for 10 to 15 minutes. Multiply that by 5. Do you have that time to do within a day? A lot of people will say no. So that while his advice is probably good and it's a great way to actually ramp up your TikTok account, and I'm sure it would mean that within a couple months you'd get a lot of followers, that is not realistic or applicable to a lot of people's lives. Like if that's not the balance that you want in your life, just don't do it. So maybe she was correct in saying probably, the more quantity you put out there, great, but I mean, at what cost? Like,
yeah, exactly. So that's the point. Like, first off, quality does matter. Okay. Don't just post bad quality stuff. And second off, only do what you're capable of doing. Only commit to what you're capable of doing. But when you commit, you got to commit. And that's why I'm saying schedule out posts. That's what I do. Here's the second part of my rant.
Oh, it's a two-parter.
There are also people... It's a 2-parter because it's for my 2 points. There are also people out there that tell you don't schedule out content. It makes it bland. It makes it boring. It's not authentic. What? No. You can schedule out your content. If it's good content and you know that this is the best way for you to stay consistent, go ahead and schedule it. I understand the point of being spontaneous and how that can sometimes create better content. But if you know that you need to do this to stay consistent and consistency is key, go ahead and do it. you are your own boss. You are the small business owner. Do what works best for your business. Rant over.
Rant over, case closed. What
Yes.
I want to bring up the word hybrid here. Okay, there is no reason why you can't mesh the two. So what Chelsea is saying is, listen, if your account is dead, then you like my sound effects. I'm gonna have to practice these. Okay.
That's pretty good though.
Yeah. So then maybe what you need to look at is to say, was I struggling with showing up consistently? What is the bare minimum or what is the maximum that I can do? Okay, my goal is going to be to show up and to make 3 posts a week, right? Somehow engage on there 3 times a week. So video, carousel post, photo, whatever it is. Now,
and you should be doing all the types.
All 3 of those.
Yes, you should be doing all 3 of those. Don't just stay to, even though we just said video is queen, you can't only do video. You need to have a combination.
Yes. And so the thing is, the hybrid comes in where in order to best keep with that 3 times a week that you've committed to, look at what we call evergreen content. What is stuff that is good information for you to share that is relevant to your industry or to your business in particular, that is going to be the same no matter what time of year, no matter what year, right? It's just always going to be a hard and fast truth. What are those types of information that you want to share? Whatever that is, schedule those out. Because like Chelsea said, you can use templates. You can decide that you want to share that information in a very particular way and then schedule those out because that's never going to change. The stuff that, you know, hey, I want to share with you guys, I'm going to be participating in a fair this weekend at this date and time at this location, then that stuff you can share closer to time, but you kind of know ahead of time. At the very least, I have 2 things scheduled this week. So that means I just have to show up 1 time this week to give something that's like, you know, a little more relevant.
Yeah, exactly. And we practice what we preach. That's what I do. I schedule out our carousel posts and our picture posts, and then I actually create and post myself all of our video content throughout the week.
Yeah, and Chelsea, let me also add this tip in here, which I may get a lot of criticism for because, you know, AI is like the big bad wolf these days. But
say wolf again. Say that again. Say wolf.
Wolf.
Wolf? You're saying wolf.
Big bad wolf. You say it.
Wolf?
Yeah. Say what's the thing you put in the car that you change pretty often? OIL.
Oil?
Yeah. Well. It just comes out that way.
Well, Tim makes fun of me. He says I can't say water correctly.
Say it again.
Water. He says I pronounce it as a D instead of a T.
Water. That's how he says it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I say water.
Well, going back to my big bad wolf story.
Sorry.
So, apparently, there are so many new tools that have come out within even the last year. And so if you found that the consistency was really the reason that you just weren't showing up, it wasn't that you were, you know, all in your feelings about engagement and you weren't getting engagement, or you just, you know, you found it hard to just have time to show up, then look out there and do a little research and see if there are any AI tools that help. And the reason I say this is because I want to give you an example of how Chelsea and I use this. So we'll do this podcast. And obviously, Chelsea wants to take the long form video from the podcast and she wants to get snippets of it. Whereas before, it was taking her a lot of time to do this manually. Okay. To do it manually, to narrow down, like, let's say 3 30-second clips, it probably would take her a couple of hours. Okay. Like, I don't mean like 2 hours, I mean like more than 2 hours. So the thing is, now we utilize a tool that's called Opus Clip. And what that does is she literally, once she uploads the video to YouTube, she's able to take that link from the YouTube video, put it in Opus Clips, and it generates for her like 4, 5, 6, however many clips she wants.
21.
Yeah.
The average is 21. I used to be able to, at the max, maybe get 5 clips out of a 40-minute long episode. Now I can get 20 to like 23, I think was the most I've ever gotten.
Yeah. And so my point is that, like, you know, for you, somebody whose job is to take content and to repurpose and get the most out of it, you know, for those of you that are sitting there and you're thinking, how am I going to be able to take, great, I did a podcast interview 3 weeks ago. I would love to be able to tap into that and repurpose that, but I don't have the time to sit down and do it. Look at these tools that are now out there that may give you the capability to do that, because what you may find is if you're showing up 3 times on Facebook, let's say, or on TikTok, you may be able to insert some of these clips that they can generate for you, you know, in like 30 seconds on there. And that alleviates you from having to film something new or having to sit down and take 2 hours to edit. So, you know, there is no, we've talked about this before, Chelsea, where there's this really weird association between hard work. I don't mean hard work as in like, hey, I'm a really great employee. I mean hard work as in making things more difficult for ourselves because we somehow feel like we have sweat, blood, and tears invested. Okay, well, the person on the other end don't know. They don't know how much time you spent doing that. So, I mean, you know, utilize as many tools as you can to help you out.
Work smarter, not harder. Honestly, Opus Clips has helped our TikTok strategy tenfold, because part of the problem we were having with TikTok is, like you said, that guy, I don't know who that guy is, but he said you need to be posting 5 times a day. I don't know who that is.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay. Anyways, he said you need to be posting 5 times a day. That is not doable for me even now with Opus Clips, but now we post at least 2 times a day on TikTok, when before it was so hard for me because I'd have to edit all of these videos, it was taking me hours just to create 5 clips. So it wasn't doable for me to post twice a day. But now that it's automated and I can quickly get all of these short form videos, I can post twice a day on TikTok, and it has helped our TikTok grow.
Yeah, and I think that's where it just kind of, we have an episode, if you guys have not heard, it's on, well, actually, no, we did that with on someone else's Facebook Live, the repurposing, like the difference between, right?
Well, we have done a repurposing episode.
Okay, yeah. So the thing is, there are different ways for you to kind of repurpose, and while we don't think that you can't just take an Instagram reel and post it on YouTube Shorts and on TikTok and expect that it does just as well, because the platforms are all different. But what we do think is, because we create this long form content anyways, we even do this for our Monday clips now, not Monday, but our weekly marketing videos. I will take it and I'll put it through Opus Clip as well. And then it generates kind of like these short form videos, which then could create some intrigue into the long form video. Now, I don't post that all over the place. We'll just share it, you know, on like a YouTube short or what we think is applicable. But, you know, make things a lot easier for yourself by just kind of utilizing this. And like Chelsea said, if for her it was hard to do and social media is what she does the majority of her day, think about that. As a small business owner, we don't expect that you're going to be able to get on there 5 times a day and, and still run a business.
Yeah.
Do you love making crafts and working on your small business but struggle to get them in front of customers?
Do craft fairs, events, or pop-ups leave you feeling overwhelmed or frustrated?
Introducing Rock Your Fair, the course designed to help you succeed in the world of craft fairs, pop-ups, and events, created by 2 marketing professionals with over 15 years of experience. Rock Your Fair is perfect for anyone who's new to the game or just wants to step up their game.
Our step-by-step approach will guide you through everything you need to know, from choosing the right events, to setting up your booth, to marketing your products effectively.
And you know what? You'll also get access to us for personalized coaching and feedback so you can put your best foot forward.
Do not let craft fairs, pop-ups, and events hold you back. Sign up for Rock Your Fair today and start rocking your way to success.
For a limited time, get access to our free mini course. Simply head over to our website at www.theseasonedmarketer.com and click on workshops.
Okay, so I want to go back for a second. You were talking about if you're trying to revitalize your account before you start posting, maybe you want to start interacting, responding to comments or leaving comments on someone else's posts. That's great. Also, definitely take advantage of stories. Stories on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest even has stories. Utilizing those because that's what a lot of people look at. I mean, think about it. When you open the Instagram app, you click on the circles. You go through all of them. It's the first thing you do. It's the first thing I do, at least.
Yeah, and they're all there's actually been information released that say that people, it's funny because everyone's talking about how their posts aren't doing as well, but then when they look at their stories, that's where everyone's like showing up. Like that's consistently been good. So you're absolutely right. People, that should be a part of your strategy or of you showing up. So, you know, if you're having, and those conversations can be so low key and just not polished, that I think it really, it's a great way if you're not comfortable sharing or showing up on video yet, it's a great way to prime yourself to do that eventually. I do want to specifically say the final tip on my end is going to be, you know, the one thing that makes this all a lot easier, and this goes across the board for any marketing initiative, whether that be, you know, the billboards that I love talking about, sponsorships, or anything like that. What makes it a lot easier to show up with your marketing is having a solid grasp on who your target audience is, because then you're only sharing information that's going to attract them. So if you have a dead, sad little account that you are looking to revive, then my recommendation would be, on top of what we just said with some of these practical tips, to even go in and be sure that you have a solid grasp on who your what we call consumer persona is, right? Who's your target audience? Because the more you know about them, the easier it's going to be for you to show up and share information that you know is going to attract them, because you have a solid profile in your mind of who they are. And don't just leave it in your mind. Actually put it on paper. Open a Word document and put it in there so that every time you decide to do a new marketing initiative, you go back to it and you say, is this person right here, is Vivian Walton, who does this, 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 and this, who likes to drink out of mason jars, you know, mispronounces words, all this stuff, is she on these platforms, or am I going to meet her there? Or is this the type of content she would read? Or are these the videos, the type of videos she would watch? So that helps to just kind of always bring you back to center. Because my guess is that if you probably had a social media account that was not thriving, it was more than likely either because you were having trouble with the consistency or because you were having trouble with the engagement. And so that would fix the engagement part of it.
Yeah, everyone say it with me. You are not your target audience. You are probably not your target audience.
Was that my cue?
You prefer is not going to be.
You are not your target audience.
I mean, that's more for me. Because let me tell, like, for one, I do not like stories. Like, if someone has a story that's more than like 3, I'm not watching it. The entire thing. I'm skipping the entire thing. I'm not watching it. That is not our consumer. So I'm going to get over it and I'm going to post stories.
Well, and it's funny to me that you don't like stories, but you post stories consistently on your personal stuff.
I do. And every time I do, I say, I wonder if anyone's going to watch this because I don't watch theirs.
That's funny.
Or I do, as long as it's only like 2. If it's 3 or more, I'm not watching it.
Can I add a little asterisk here? So,
okay.
Interesting. Yeah, if you're going to revive your account, I think you can skip over the "I'm sorry I've been gone for so long" post. I'm giving you permission to not have to, you don't have to make a post or a video or a reel explaining yourself to anybody, okay? So like if you're looking to just like get back on these social media accounts, just consider it like you're kind of starting from scratch, new you. Show up and just do, set out with your vision and your objectives and your goals and do exactly what you're going to do. But you don't need to go into this long, like, let me tell you guys why I was absent for 2 months. I just really had a hard time coming on here and I had all this stuff with my business. And then I was going through a divorce and then my oldest child ended up getting bit by a raccoon.
No. If that is what happened, you better share that with people. I want to know what happened to your daughter that got bit by a raccoon.
Raccoon bites are not funny, y'all. Okay, I'm not laughing. It's a little funny.
It's not funny. Yeah. It's a little funny. It's an imaginary raccoon bite, so it's funny. Yeah. Yeah, but you don't owe anything to anyone. You don't have to tell them why you've been gone. Just show back up. It's fine.
Yeah. And I mean, you could keep it as simple as like, hey, I'm back. Here's blah, blah, blah. New information, new stuff. Yeah. New products, services that I have.
Exactly. Okay. So to wrap this up, I'm going to give you guys, I told you what we do on TikTok, 2 posts a day. Again, I am the one, like most of my job is social media. That's doable for me. If you can't do that, then don't. But for Instagram, this is what we do.
I like how you just said that.
At least 3 posts a week. What?
Then don't.
Then don't. I mean, you don't have to. Okay. For Instagram, this is what I do. At least 3 posts a week. We do 1 carousel post, 1 photo, and then I try to do 3 videos a week. This is easier for us, easier for me, because we have a podcast every week and we have a marketing video every week. So that's already 2 of my videos. Then the 3rd video is creative. It's whatever I want it to be. I come up with something that's fun. Maybe it's tips on how to stay consistent, or maybe it's, self-care is important for small business owners. I have a strict schedule that helps me stay consistent. And that way we show up, the Seasoned Marketer as a brand shows up consistently every week. That's what we do. I would suggest, if you can, do 1 video a week and then maybe 1 carousel or 1 regular post. That would probably work. But again, it's up to you and it's whatever works best for you.
Good. I'm glad that you shared that. Definitely doable. If anything, we just want to remind you guys that you are more than capable of keeping up with your social media accounts, whichever ones you have strategically chosen to show up for. And remember, yes, these are, it's weird because I feel like people just kind of, social media is like a given. They're like, oh yeah, of course we're on social media, but that can mean so many different things. Some people take it seriously. Some people take it too seriously, I think, and build an entire business on just social media. And then others do it and just say, oh, well, because it's free, I don't have to spend my time on it. But you're not taking full advantage of the opportunity there. So you guys are more than capable of making this fit into your schedule and into your small business. And remember, your ultimate goal is always going to be that you convert these followers into buying customers and clients. So at the end of the day, you don't need a huge follower count to do that. Remember, the higher your percentage, you can have 700 followers, but if 50% of those people are buying from you, congratulations. Okay. Because there are people with much larger followings with a way smaller percentage of people buying. So just remember, it's always a ratio and a percentage that you're going for. You want your percentage to be high from followers to actually buying paying customers. All right, Chelsea. Well, I think that wraps up our conversation. And we just want to say from the bottom of our hearts, y'all, thank you so much for all your support and for showing up. We hope that these conversations actually help you with promoting your small business. Remember, we release a new episode every Thursday. You can find the video version of this podcast on YouTube under S.O.B Marketing Podcast. And we're also available on Spotify and all those things. So if you're, wanting to go out there and share with the people you know about this podcast, let them know they can find us on all those platforms. But don't forget to check out our website under 𝘕𝑦𝑒𝑑marketer.com and also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Subscribe to our marketing videos under The Seasoned Marketer as well. But thanks again.
And go be the best SOB you can be.